Chad and Joel asked me to make a prediction for 2025.
Here is my crystal ball prediction for 2025.
All right. When Chad and Cheese reach out for recruiting predictions for 2025.
My 2025 prediction.
2025 prediction show. I'm honored.
I have 2 predictions for 2025.
My prediction for 2025 is...
My prediction for 2025 is...
We're back.
Hide your kids. Lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese podcast.
It's dry January, which means we're drinking all our whiskey without the water. Hey, boys and girls, it's the Chad and Cheese Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joel 51st State Cheeseman.
And this is Chad. Get your hands off my tarot cards, Sowash.
And on this week's show, predictions with a little help from our friends. Let's do this.
At Shaker Recruitment Marketing, our comprehensive services include branding, talent attraction, MarTech, and analytics, empowering you to achieve your recruitment marketing goals. We believe in doing things the right way, delivering the right message through the right activation, achieving the right conversion. For us, business is deeply personal. Our legacy is built on relationships. Together with our people, clients, and partners, we've been shaping the world of talent for over 70 years.
Ooh,
we're back, baby.
Are back. We're back.
You look much more tanned and rested than I do.
Oh,
that's all
so
good.
So much more rested. Quick thanks to Sergey and Trisha, real quick before we start blowing past this. Those guys actually hooked you, wonderful listeners and viewers, up with our 2024 wrap up and our 2024 top 10 topics. So we actually went back into the archives of 2024, got the best and brightest to be able to talk about the top 10 insights and topics. So great stuff there. And then we took the top 5. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top 5 episodes from Chad and Cheese. Got those, sliced up and put together. And I mean, it did a great job. So thanks so much. Appreciate Sergey and the team, Trisha and the team. You guys do great audio, video all the way through. Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm. And my local liquor store appreciates it because I was able to drink way more eggnog than I normally would because of that. Yes, I know they're listening because they have to edit this shit. Yeah. So yes, Trisha, Sergey, thank you so much for all you do and giving us a little bit of a break. So what'd you do on the holiday? What'd you do?
You first.
Okay,
you tell
I'll fire me first. Well,
you first.
I think I mentioned the wife and the little guy. We took a little trip to New York, saw Elf on Broadway, did a lot of the other New York stuff that is certainly fun. And then had some time off, did the holidays. My 85-year-old dad, wheeled him in, got him a new walker. He was very excited. It's funny to see a 7-year-old excited about toys and a 85-year-old as excited about toys. And then we took a little time, hooked up with the Canadian family in Orlando, did a little bit of NASA, did a little bit of R&R. Yeah. The Canadians are all fired up over Trump. It's very funny.
Imagine that.
As if any of this 51st state shit is going to happen. But yeah, it makes for fun with the Canadians when America's pissing them off. Otherwise, just took some time to relax. I mean, we're in 8 years of doing this, and we've got some big changes coming for next year, which will unfold as appropriate. But excited for 2025 and good to be back. How about you?
Damn excited. So we had
and Ohio State is ready to play for a championship.
Dude, so knock on wood. They've been knocking it out of the park, and hopefully they continue to do so. I tell you what, man, had a blast. We had 10 in total people come to Portugal for Christmas. So
that's a basketball team.
Family and friends. Few friends came over. So we had a great Christmas here. And then we went to Marbella, southern Spain for New Year's, which is bougie as fuck. It was funny because Adam Gordon, as probably everybody knows, friend of the show, listens to just about every, if not all, of our episodes. He responded back to me on WhatsApp. He was like, Cadiz, where we went a couple of months ago, and had a little Spanish flag, and then had Marbella and had a little UK flag. And yeah, there are way too many fucking Brits in Marbella. That's for fucking sure. So anyway, it was great. Got to check it off the box. But other than that, had a great time. Drank way too fucking much. So I've scaled down a bit. I haven't gone dry, but I've scaled down a bit. I'm trying
I'm trying some alternatives. Just testing.
What?
There's some CBD drinks. There's some mushroom drinks. Like I'm testing. I'll let you know after a month of how this stuff works. But yeah, I'm trying at 53. You know, I mean, come on, like you gotta balance it. You gotta compromise. We're not 25 anymore. So yeah, I appreciate that.
I like my 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 gummies. CBD.
Yeah, you're a gummy guy.
To THC. Dude, it's just so mellowing and relaxing and just amazing. So yeah, I think I'll just continue to stay on that trajectory this year.
If you do 2 or 3 of really good stuff, it's a lot better than doing like 6 to 8 of the shitty stuff. God, yeah. So you kind of it's This will be interesting in 2025. How can I sign up to be your kid? I get trips to Europe. I get trips to like sunny locations. Do your kids thank you? Do they just bow down and kiss your feet? You're their dad?
They love it. Don't get me wrong. And one of the things that Julie and I really wanted to do was instill wanderlust into all of them. Yeah. Because one of the things, I mean, I would have never gotten out of the U.S. If it weren't for the military, right? I mean, especially when I was young, I was 18 years old and I was sent down to Central America and they started shooting at me. Other than that, though, it was great. That's the thing, though, is that I got to actually understand that, you know, just because those people speak different languages than we do, just because they live differently, doesn't make them less human than we are. And it's really great to be able to get our kids over into Europe and really just understand that, hey, look, we're all just people and we should have more empathy, but also, you know, it's really fucking cool when you can take them to Paris. You can take them to, Madeira. You can take them to Marbella, and so on and so forth. So yeah, no, it's good, but no toys. Hey, listener. Hey, I'm seeing here that you're watching every single week. Yeah, I know YouTube, Google, they have these analytics things and you haven't subscribed yet. I don't know what the problem is. Hopefully it's probably Joel. I know it's probably Joel, but it's okay. It's okay. He's not here right now. Just go ahead and click subscribe. Click subscribe.
Viewers on YouTube will notice my Depeche Mode album in the background here. And I quote Depeche Mode when I say, people are people. Why should it be you and I should get along so awfully? Yes,
that's exactly right.
We're all one people in this world. Well, goodbye 24. Here's to 25. I'm optimistic as hell. I know you are too. We're going to skip shout outs, but we're definitely shining a light on the sponsors that generously support this show. Chad, who we got?
Well, I mean, free stuff. I mean, we're still giving away free stuff. And if you want a t-shirt, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this gorgeous Chad Cheese t-shirt. This is the last year's edition. I love it. These are sponsored by Airnap. You can have bourbon barrel aged syrup from our friends up north from Kiora. Who else does syrup better than the Canadians? I say nobody. Beer from our friends at Aspen Tech Labs, craft beer from those kids at Aspen Tech Labs. Whiskey, we've got a new whiskey sponsor, kids. Van Hack. More Canadians.
More Canadians.
We were doing our movie.
Oh, my God.
Show, you hoser.
And then, if it's your birthday, you got to have some rum with plum, but you got to go to chadcheese.com/free to register for all of the bounty of free stuff.
I know I can.
Yes.
I can feel it all the way down in my plum.
And Plum
That's
is
right,
also,
Chad. We're hitting,
Plum is also Canadian.
That's right. Hitting half Canadian. Only the good half. So 2025 birthdays. We're starting the month off right. We got Muir McDonald. I wonder if he's Scottish.
Welcome to all things Scottish.
Muir McDonald.
If it's no Scottish, it's crap.
Zachary Larson, Steve Jewell, Cheryl Ford, Rob Arndt, Mark Katz, Peter Brooks, Mark Becker, Mark Fogel, Keith Sedlick, William Nolan, Nikki, Don't Call Me Nipsey Russell, Reggie Martin, Angie Brooks, your girl, Athena Karp, and Peter Zolman. All square up the birthdays.
Happy birthday!
From this week.
It's getting to the point where, guess what, kids? We're getting ready for events. Now, I've got a special little solo event that's happening in early February. Since I'm already over here in Europe, I was asked by smart recruiters. They're like, "Hey, we've got an event. It's just a little ways to the east in Madrid. Would you like to come?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I'd love to come." So I'm going to be early February at the Smart Recruiters All Hands event. We're also going to do a simulcast. There's a gala, tons of stuff that's actually going on, and whatever else they throw at me. So I can't wait to see Rebecca and the crew there. Then the first big conference of the year is at Transform, March 17th to the 19th at the Wynn in Las Vegas. And I know you love some Wynn, don't you?
I love some Wynn. Steve Wynn, my boy.
But that's what we've got going on thus far. We'll start solidifying much more of what's going on at those events. And then obviously we've got more events throughout the year. We won't do as much as we did last year. Knock on wood.
But rest assured, you'll be sick of us by November of next year. One thing I won't get sick of, though, Chad, a little bit of a bittersweet moment for me. This is the final leaderboard from the Fantasy Football with Factory Fix. Big thanks to them. Great guys over there. I love working with them. I feel pretty confident saying that they'll be back next year to sponsor our Unhealthy Addiction. But this is your final leaderboard. I'm going to go in reverse and save the champion last.
Good call.
In the last spot, shocker.
Welcome to all things Scottish. Our slogan is, if it's no Scottish, it's crap.
Finishing with an unimpressive 4-11 record. Well, all four I think he got in the first 4 weeks, and then his team just went to shit.
The Jets have more wins.
Adam Gordon finishes in last place, followed by Jim Tharp, Sean Horton. Sean, if we had another 20, 30 weeks, you might have made it up there, buddy. Jackson Dahlquist, Dina Perro, last year's winner, Christy Lisbon, Laura Martinelli, Keith the Commish Sonderling with a nice push at the end, Dean the Daddy Mac Mackerel out of Australia, who was in the number one spot for most of the season. You took him out. You took him out back, stuck a Foster's in his face, got him drunk, and he was no good on that last week, which made you at third place. Yep. You get a medal. That's nice. I got second place, which I'm not ashamed about, but our champion goes to Paradox employee David Stiefel. Nice job, David. Homie got 200 plus points in the final week. Lamar blew up. Everyone he had, I think, had over 18 points, which is really unheard of. But yeah, that is the final week, and probably not the final soundbite of this. No. Thanks again to Factory Fix for helping us out. Well, with no further ado, predictions. So we got lots of news, which we'll get to next week. Yes. But this is the prediction show, everybody, and everybody loves it. Chad, let's recap what we got right and mostly what we got wrong in 2024.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and go through yours first.
Okay.
First and foremost, your first prediction of 2024 was that there would be no IPOs. And I think that was a win. I had made there. There's no IPOs out there.
You made fun of me because it was such a layup, but I'll take the win. I'll take the win.
You got on base.
Hey,
you got on base.
Hey, my record hasn't been good. I had to get a W somewhere. Well,
here's another W. No new unicorns. I mean, I actually dug in, didn't see any new unicorns. Obviously, there are plenty that are out there, but ones that did get funding didn't push them to unicorn status if they weren't already there.
Are you teasing me with 2 wins?
You naughty. You're teasing me. You naughty.
All right, I had to get one wrong, right?
There's a lot of bunting happening here. Death of a unicorn, which that was a big swing because most of these unicorns had so much fucking cash from funding. So that was a no. And last but not least, which deserves a big boo, is the Browns win a Super Bowl. So you just took a swing on that one.
There's always next season, Chad.
Yes.
There's always next season. All right, I'll take 2 and 1, or maybe 2 and 2.
So my first prediction for 2024 was 2 acquisitions would happen from some early stage startups because I thought some companies would really want to get in there and buy them before they became too expensive. Number 1 was CV Wallet and number 2 was Poetry, and neither one of them were acquired. Saw some great lift in 2024, but no acquisition there. Secondly, I said Twitter hiring dies, which I'm going to claim a win on because it was acquired. They acquired Lasky in May of 2023, right? Twitter/X. Chris Bakke left in August of 2024, and it's basically on its own island of misfit toys at this point. I mean, there's nothing going on. So I'm going to claim a win because
60% of the time it works every time.
And then last but not least, I predicted a dominant open AI-like player in the space where it was actually more of an open source AI scenario that was HR's focused. And literally the closest that I think came to this was Poetry, being the startup with Adam Gordon. But still, I don't think I knocked that one out of the park. So that's a no.
Okay.
But
pretty good.
But
pretty good.
Not bad. I think I got one sorta, but you get an honorable mention. And let me tell you why, sir. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Went back to 2023 and you predicted that Scott Guts would be out at Monster. Now it took a little bit longer, but it still happened. Scott Guts out.
Well, like I say, Chad, there are no wrong predictions. Just not enough time to see them happen. Don't fall.
You're not going to fall for the banana in the
tailpipe on that one. All right, that is our 2024 recap. Mostly right, but some misses in there as well. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll get to our guests of very high profile, very qualified individuals giving us their predictions for 2025.
So you posted a new job ad. Now you can sit back and wait for the applications to roll in, right? That's why we built JobPixel. Imagine showing candidates why your company is great with real people, real stories, and real culture. With JobPixel, it's not just another job ad. It's an invitation to something much bigger.
Video gives you a 3 times better response rate. So instead of chasing after candidates, they'll be coming to you.
And with a 34% boost in conversions, candidates aren't just looking, they're applying.
And if you're worried about people clicking away, don't be. Our videos reduce bounce rates by 25%. That means they're watching, they're engaged, and they're interested.
282% more engagement. Yeah, you're going to need a bigger inbox.
Finding the right candidate is tough, but with JobPixel, it doesn't have to be. Show your company's authentic story, and the candidates will follow.
Let's make recruiting fun again, because honestly, it could use some help.
Do you want to see how JobPixel can save you time and money while achieving your KPIs? Schedule a demo today.
let me go ahead and set this up for everybody.
Yeah.
So Joel and I are definitely looking to do less work. But seriously, it is great to hear all of these different voices that come onto the show. They give us videos, they do a lot of stuff. And I mean, there's just so much engagement with the Chad and Cheese audience. I thought, what the fuck, man? Let's do more of this. So reached out to about 15 different people.
Yeah.
And I think we got like 8 or 9 back videos.
500.
Right? Yeah. And that was during like, Christmas week, right?
Yeah.
So it was a big ask for me, and a lot of these guys came through. So thank you so much. Let's go ahead and start rolling some of that beautiful bean footage.
All right. Let's first get to Matt Lavery. If you haven't heard our interview with Matt Lavery from, I think,
Amazing.
September, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Matt is the global director of sourcing, recruiting, and onboarding at a little company called UPS. Let's hear Matt's prediction real quick.
Chad and Joel asked me to make a prediction for 2025, and I'm going to make it in the hourly entry-level space. I'm going to quote my fellow Chicago Southsider Clubber Lang. I predict pain in 2025 because winter is coming. And it's coming because we're going to go mimic what we did during the early days of the pandemic. When you look at that workforce, entry-level hourly workers, 3 groups make up a large percentage of that workforce. New entries from U.S. births, people who were born in the U.S. 16, 18 years ago. Illegal and legal immigration make up the vast majority of that workforce, a large percentage, I should say. 2 of those 3 prongs during the early days of the pandemic were dramatically reduced. Legal immigration was down $400,000 a year. Illegal immigration was way down during those 2 years because of travel restrictions. And the majority of people that come over here, they don't cross the southern border illegally. They come over on planes and they overextend their visas. They don't go back. So with the new administration and what they're planning to do, we can see a repeat of that pretty quickly. We do get a little bit of a reprieve because when you go back in time, look at 2006 to 2008, we averaged about 4.3 million people versus 4.1 the previous 5 years. But that's going to be a short-lived thing because what happened in 2009? The Great Recession. It wasn't the kind of recession where you just couldn't buy your kid the G.I. Joe, the Kung Fu Grip. You lost your house. It was bad. U.S. births plummeted below 4 million, down to 3.6 in 2013-14. So this could be in a really difficult space for a long time. And we're going to get our heads around it because your recruiters, they're not going to be able to find people. There's not going to be a woman to blame. You're not going to be able to find a Mexican cutie because she got deported. You might find you lost shaker of salt. Better put booze in your blender and hope that frozen concoction helps you hang on. Because I predict pain in the hourly entry-level workspace in 2025. Peace and love to all in 2025, and I'm out.
Tell me you're Gen X without telling me you're Gen X. Yes. Jeez, man.
Also,
awesome.
Big props though to Matt, big Notre Dame fan. He's, I believe, right now on his way to the Notre Dame Penn State game as it is, because obviously whoever wins that hopefully will be facing, knock on wood, Ohio State in the finals.
Huge fan. Have you seen his setup?
Oh yeah,
like inflatable couches. Yeah,
tailgate.
He's a major fan. I've never wanted an old style so badly. I don't know why that is. I'm a little disappointed. There was no over under on the Cubs wins this season. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about that, but I think he's spot on. What do you think?
No question. We talked about this in shows past. And it's not just going to be pain from the standpoint of not being able to find people, but also, we talked about immigrants actually push in close to $100 billion in tax revenue into the United States. So this is going to hit us in many different areas. And we just have to realize, as he had said, that building a wall is not going to help. Most of these motherfuckers are coming over on planes. And guess what? We need them. We need them. America's the melting pot. We always have been. We shouldn't stop.
Yeah. The headline I read recently was Republican Civil War. So you have Elon and Vivek wanting to H-1B visas, which certainly makes sense to us. But you also have a Republican Party or voter bloc that put Trump in to not do stuff like that. So it's going to be tough. It will also, I think, expedite the acceptance of robotics, automation, because companies are going to need a way, whether it's kiosk ordering my Big Mac or something else.
Do it fast.
Yeah, it's going to be there's going to be a lot of money pour into the robotics and replacement
have to happen fast
of employees of AI. Well, thanks, Matt. We appreciate that. And I mean, come on, you get Penn State, if the Domers can't do that, we're in trouble. But there may be a house divided if it's an Ohio State Notre Dame final. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, let's get to our second guest prediction. This one's from Emmy Barradugo. If you listen to the show, you know Emmy. She's going to be on quite a bit more often. We're excited about that. She is a senior level recruiter and occasional co-host on this show. Let's see her prediction.
Hey everyone, so here is my crystal ball prediction for 2025. TikTok isn't getting banned in the US. Now, I hear what the Biden administration is saying. They think TikTok is a massive security risk. They think TikTok is going to take personal user information, pass it on to the Chinese government, who will then use it to influence US citizens. Now, is this scary? Yeah, 100% it is. But here comes the plot twist. Enter TikTok's former nemesis, aka Donald TikTok hater turned savior Trump. Now, this is the same Trump who in 2020 wants to ban TikTok because China is bad. Well, look at where we are now. His pivot is wild. Trump successfully used TikTok to get to a broader audience during his election campaign. I mean, the guy now's got 14 million TikTok followers, and he's calling TikTok a platform for freedom of expression. And that's not it. Trump is convinced that a TikTok ban is going to benefit Meta, a company that he said was the enemy of the people. And look, he's probably right. I'm sure Meta's going to benefit from this. Ban TikTok, and the US government is effectively handing a monopoly to Meta short videos in Instagram and Facebook. But now he's saying delay the ban so he has time to negotiate a solution. Why? Because he's the art of the deal guy. And you know he's already on the case. I mean, just look at how cozy he is with Jeff Yass. Jeff Yass is one of TikTok's parent company investors, and he's a Republican Party mega donor. So do I think this has something to do with Trump's U-turn? Yeah, of course I do. I'm obviously questioning Trump's motives, but here's the thing. There are positives to keeping TikTok around in the US. 7 million US businesses, 1 million influencers, and billions of dollars depend on this app. Ban TikTok and the economic fallout in the US could be huge. Now, obviously, we all know that Trump's about the economy, right? Okay, so I'm going to say it again. TikTok is not getting banned in the US in 2025. So mark your calendars, America. In 2025, you're still going to be like me. You're still going to be scrolling at 2 a.m. in the morning, pretending that you're just going to stop after one more video. Now, okay, I'm looking at the time. Excuse me, people. I've got a TikTok dance to learn. So happy 2025, people. Bye-bye.
Oh, Emmy.
Escalated quickly.
Oh, Emmy. I agree with her from
this
the standpoint
one's close
of,
to your heart. Yeah.
I agree. It's not going to go away. There's too much money, but I don't think it has much to do with the economy. I think it has more to do with, as she had said, Trump's political, leanings because he got money from, TikTok investors. So that's what it has to do with. I don't think it has anything to do with economy. It doesn't give two shits about, content creators and influencers or anything like that. He just cares about the money that lays at his feet.
This is fascinating to me. This was one of the few bipartisan bills that came through in Congress. There aren't many bipartisan bills. And what I've heard is people that are on the committee on this come out of meetings and research saying that this is incredibly dangerous. But you have on the other side Donald Trump, who is the self-proclaimed greatest social media character in history, who is part owner of a social media property. And you have Elon Musk, who has X, who would certainly benefit from TikTok being banned. Meta's getting in bed big time with the Trump administration. This is going to be one of the more interesting shows. Sideshows of the administration.
Many.
I think ultimately it just gets put on the back burner. Court cases get pushed back or whatever.
Kicked down
the only thing that changes it is if China gets frisky. If China goes into Taiwan, if China does something really militarily dangerous, we could pull the plug. Otherwise, I think it's just going to flounder around and be around, and it'll be put on the back burner. So yeah, I think 2025 TikTok will still be around. I think you should call your boy Jim Durbin, get another bet on the table, get another bottle of Eagle Rare in your cupboard, and roll with that. But yeah, it'll be one of the more interesting stories this year is the TikTok saga. The TikTok saga.
We're not going to be short of interesting stories, unfortunately.
Love that. Well, at this point, this show is the smartest it may has ever sounded. But we're gonna get smarter people.
Get to the next one.
We're gonna go to Lars Schmidt. He's the founder and CEO at Amplify Talent. Just an icon in the industry. I think I can say that, and just an all around super nice guy. We'll miss his podcast in the future. But Lars, let's hear what he's got to say.
All right. When Chad and Cheese reach out for recruiting predictions for 2025, you got to heed the call. And this is what I think. I think that 2025 will see a return to in-person interviewing. And there's a reason for that. I think most of these predictions are probably going to be tied up in AI. This has connections to it as well. In this year already, we started to see more companies using AI avatars in recruiting. Companies like Chipotle worked with Paradigm to create a AI avatar called Avocado. Clever. Yes, I know. And it's used to help candidates prep for interviews. EY is doing the same, and you're going to start to see more companies actually bringing these into their recruiting process. And so as more companies are doing this, candidates are going to do that as well. We're going to start to see more candidates using AI avatars to be able to interview at scale. And so that doesn't work for anyone. And I think more companies are going to be burned by this, and they're going to say, you know what, we just need to go back to basics, bring these interviews back in-house, human-to-human conversations and connections. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in 2025. So hang on. It's going to be a wild year. And I think AI is going to be infusing almost every aspect of how we think about recruiting. This is just one of them.
Interesting. Power to the people. He said paradigm. I think he meant paradox. Just for our listeners. Yeah. Okay. Thoughts on Lars' commentary?
Yeah, I love it. The thing, I don't agree. We're not going back. It's just not going to happen. There's way too much success that's already happening. We talked to many enterprise companies who are already starting to use better processes, automation, and AI. So I don't think we're going to go back. Are there going to be some companies from an anecdotal standpoint that have great stories around their human to human interviews at some aspects of their company? I don't think it's going to happen from the top to the bottom, right? It's going to happen in swaths of jobs. So yeah, we're not going back, kids.
Yeah, I was talking to a former Indeed exec late last year, and I was talking about just what's the biggest threat to Indeed. What do you see? Is it programmatic? I think we just talked to Appcast's Chris Foreman, and he said the greatest threat to Indeed is paradox. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And the more I thought about it, I thought he's kind of right. And it maybe not paradox directly, but that movement of companies
we'll
taking
get into
over
that with
the process.
My prediction down the road.
Well, all right. No spoilers. So I do think
I agree though.
Companies aren't going to go back. Where I do think there's risk is if we got to have a good CAPTCHA system. We got to have a system where you can't just get blown up with AI job seekers and deal with that kind of flow. So as long as, because there's the job seeker side of this, and if that gets crazy, and we'll have JT on many times this year to talk about some of the job seeker stuff. Yeah, that needs a CAPTCHA system. That needs some sort of controls, or else the rails could come off. But I agree, like the money companies are saving, the man hours they're saving, like the efficiency, the black hole going. I mean, I love Lars, and he's a people person to the bone.
Agreed.
But we are not going back. That was nice. He's got a better camera than we do too. I don't know. We need one of those.
I don't want high def. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I don't need high def on this.
Damn, Lars, that looks like AI Lars. It's so nice.
It could have been.
All right, going from Lars, let's go to Rebecca Volpano. She's the VP of Product Marketing at Cielo. Speaking of robots, here's Rebecca.
Hey friends, Rebecca Volpano here with my 2025 prediction. And I think that 2025 is going to be the year of the robot. And so what I mean by that is I think that we're going to see an introduction of a robotic workforce, not dissimilar to when RPA was introduced, but much more fun. And I think that it's really going to make all of our lives quite a bit easier. So I don't think that generative AI is going to take all of the jobs in HR and recruiting this year. But I do think that we're going to be introduced to some new robotic friends. And so things that are kind of pushing me in that direction. Salesforce, for example, has launched their agents. LinkedIn has announced that they will be introducing some agentic AI later this year. Olivia, so Paradox's Olivia, has a generative AI capability. And Cielo might be up to something too. So more to come on that. But I'm definitely optimistic about the introduction of a robotic workforce because I think who wouldn't want a robot sidekick? When I think about some of the most famous robots who are really kind of, helping that main character or that hero, I can't imagine anyone really turning that down. So thinking about like R2-D2 would be awesome to work alongside. Or if you're familiar with or a fan of the Alien franchise, even some of the scarier androids, I think I would trust with my inbox.
My mind went to Megan Fox. I don't know about you. Not R2-D2. That's just me.
And then when I think about some of the warm fuzzy ones like Baymax in Big Hero 6, like who wouldn't want to be around that robot? So those are some of the examples that I'm looking to kind of help us and guide us in the robots that we infuse into our HR and TA processes. And obviously there are some that we'll watch out for as well, but would love to know who you'd love to have as a robot sidekick. And, if you want to chat about any of the other AI predictions or things revolving around HR and TA, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to have that convo. And I hope you all have a really great 2025. Thanks.
The Sydney Sweeney bot coming soon to a Walmart near you.
Well, you know what? You might as well go ahead and play Sean's because Sean's like butts up right against hers. And then we can just comment on both.
All right, little combo action.
Let's do it.
Chad calls an audible. Here we go.
Chad and Cheese, great to be with you guys for your 2025 prediction show. I'm honored, and I promise you that we will have a beer sometime in our future and do another show together. But thanks for all the help this year. You guys have always educated the industry and keep us laughing and having fun, even when things are stressful. As for 2025 predictions, I've got one or two here that I'd love to throw out for you. So the first is, I think 2025 is going to be a year where the old rules finally die. I don't want to say put the nail in the coffin, but I think we're going to see some of that. So the first thing I'll say is I think you'll see about 20% of the Fortune 500 move to fully autonomous AI hiring, which sounds crazy. A couple of years ago, we were super worried about AI and bias and all kinds of things. I think you're going to see 20% of companies in America start hiring frontline workers completely using AI. They're going to use AI to source workers on different places. They're going to match them, screen them, onboard them, get them started. There's going to be a lot of worry about what does that do? How does it work? And I think we're going to see tremendous results. We're going to see higher satisfaction from workers as they're able to find the right opportunity for them. They're going to show up happier. They're going to work harder. They're going to feel better. They're going to stay longer. They're going to be more productive, and companies are going to be more profitable. So I think you're going to see 20% of companies embrace a fully autonomous AI hiring cycle, at least for the frontline worker. I don't know about for all workers everywhere, but at Fountain, we're obviously exclusively focused on these frontline workers. So AI hiring comes alive in a big way, and you're going to see the biggest companies in America start to do that, even though we are wondering, hey, how quickly are they going to adjust to this? I think they're going to move pretty fast. The second one that I'll say is breaking the old rules is the old schedule, right? The other idea of like, hey, we're going to come in, you're going to be here from 8 to 4, 8 to 2, something like that. I think you're going to see companies start to experiment with micro shifts. What do I mean? I mean, giving workers really, really bite-sized opportunities to work. Maybe it's a 2-hour shift. Maybe it's a 3-hour shift. Maybe I can work from 7 to 9 because that's what works for my schedule. And so I think you're going to see some of that as well. You're going to see this breaking of the rule of moving from a place where I have to show up for 4 hours that whole time. You're going to see people show up for 2 hours, 3 hours, again, using AI to schedule all of this, but really matching supply and demand in an incredible way for workers and for companies. So anyway, those are my 2025 productions. Let's see how I do.
That was Sean Bair, CEO and founder at Fountain. I'm sensing a theme here in our predictions, Chad.
Yeah.
Take a side. The robots or the humans?
Well, in 20% fully autonomous hiring, I think, but I think it can happen, especially if you take a look at Fountain, Paradox, and Harry. Those are like new age, tech stack platforms, applicant tracking systems, chatbots, so on and so forth. So I think 20%, to be quite frank, within the realm of companies that are actually using those three platforms, I think 20% is low. When it comes to those three platforms, because I think most of those companies are really going to press what they can do because they're going to want to get people in faster, want to be more competitive, and want to save a hell of a lot of money. And they'll be able to do that through automation.
Yeah. And Sean's probably speaking his book a little bit.
Of course.
It's his product, but he also has the numbers. He also sees what's going on more so than we do. So, I think what was interesting there is you had sort of two different layers of it. You had Rebecca talking about literal robots, right? Yes. Things that lift boxes and pick out products and put them on conveyor. But like that is one level of the automation. The automation Sean's talking about is the hiring and the scheduling and the flexibility there. So you have automation on two sides of that. Which kind of are coming together, but I think he's right on, and we'll get to JT, her prediction. I don't want to spoil that, but a lot of those frontline workers, they don't have resumes, they don't have a LinkedIn profile, they don't have like a tradition. They're not going to mail their resume into the company like we did way back in the day. So this way of hiring people works for this demographic. So if the market is going to decide where this goes, the market is saying we want to chat. We want to have something that is not as frictionless or as frictionless as possible, and that's where we're going. So I love Sean and loved his transparency on coming on the show, and we will definitely take you up on those beers at a conference near you. All right, let's get to Tim Meehan's prediction. Tim is the principal at Talent River Consulting and an old white guy like us, so he's got to say something.
Been in
smart,
the game
right?
for a minute.
All right, guys, I have two predictions for 2025, and perhaps in a change from the other themes here. Mine aren't these positive hoity-toity things. The first is that next year we'll continue to treat our candidates like shit. They'll continue to make hundreds of applications to companies, and they won't hear back, they won't know why, and they'll become incredibly depressed. The second prediction is that talent acquisition leaders will continue to be wholly unqualified, unable, and lacking the skills to make the business case for change to their CEO, which is the only reason a company would continue to treat their consumers, their customers, their candidates like shit, because the CEO doesn't understand the math, but it is destroying their brand.
Boom.
Jeez, Tim.
Yeah. So, which I love. I love. So, first and foremost, candidate experience. Again, I think Tim is right from the standpoint of the macro, but from the micro, again, I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to keep beating the drum on Fountain, Paradox, and Harry. Any companies that are using them right now, they're being incredibly innovative and aggressive. And and that's around candidate experience because they're looking for speed, because we all know speed kills, right? So they're looking for speed. And then they're also looking to, and we've talked to these people, Joel, and this is the fun part. Don't worry, kids. It's going to be coming out new AI sessions season. But we talked to companies that are enterprise companies who are saying, no, I don't just have a seat at the table. My seat is fucking warm because I am demonstrating business cases that nobody else in my organization can demonstrate. This is kicking ass and taking names. So these new technologies aren't just making it easier and better and more cost effective, but they're creating business cases that are allowing our CHROs and our chief of talent or people to actually get at the table and own that fucking seat. And I love it.
Yeah. And I think where he's right is there is still a situation of haves and have-nots. And, the companies that we talk to are brand name companies. They're the companies that you shop for at Christmas, and they're companies you see commercials for and have money and sort of the resources to do this. 80% of businesses are still small businesses. And that's kind of a lot of the hiring and where that goes on. I don't know at what point the Harrys and the Paradoxes cross over into smaller businesses. I don't know if they ever will. Maybe there are other solutions that'll adhere to small business to give them these tools. But I'm telling you, the Subway franchisee down the street, who I know pretty intimately, does not have any concept of what's going on with this stuff. So it'll take time, but for the first time in our careers, we're on the right track.
Yes.
Of job seekers, candidates getting treated like people, oddly, through technology, and companies being able to handle the flood of candidates, oddly enough, through technology. Technology is making us more human, which is kind of the point we've kind of been making for a long time. So, Tim, thanks for your honesty, brutal honesty, if you will.
Love it.
All right, we're rolling through these. Let's go to JT O'Donnell. One of my favorite guests on the show. She keeps it real. She fights for the job seeker. Let's hear her side of the predictions.
My prediction for 2025 is the death of the resume, and I am here for it. And before you come at me and say, "Oh, people have said that before," I'm going to tell you why it's really going to happen in 2025. First of all, put your hand up if you're a recruiter in talent acquisition and you have seen a massive increase in these so-called perfect resumes. You know, the ones that the job seekers are using AI to make them an exact match to your job description so they can try to get through your ATS system, only for you to call them up and find out they're nothing what they said they are on paper. Yeah, those folks. Are you sick of them? Of course you are. Secondly, have you ever sat around and looked at 100 resumes in a row? I mean, you can't see straight when you're done and you can't make sense of them. The death of the resume is here. What's going to replace it? Video. And before you come at me with that, hear me out again. See, video is a way for them to authenticate themselves for you. Ever heard the phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words? It's true. When you look at a picture, you can interpret a lot more. Well, video's worth 1,000,000. And before you say to me, I'm not going to sit and listen to 100 videos, you're wrong. You do it all the time. It's called social media. That is why we're able to watch and go through at a much faster rate. Now, there will be AI tools that will read and listen and comprehend those videos and match people based on the depth of information that they shared. Think about that. You put together a job description, you put together the info and the skills that you're looking for, and it goes out and listens to videos for you and brings back the people that are saying the things that you need to hear so that you can watch and validate it and authenticate it. And now what have you done? The first interview. This is going to hyperspeed the recruitment process. It is here. It is coming. So goodbye resume. Hello video. You'll thank me later.
Was she wearing a brewing company pair of sweatpants? Like, I hope she's going to fit in great on this show. She's going to fit in great. Some brewings. I don't even own a pair of beer brewing sweatpants. Nicely done.
Because they don't come in your size.
That's just mean. I thought this was a brand new Chad in 2025. What? Come on now. I have fat pants. They're just not brewing. Brewing fat pants. All right, man. Here we go. Death of the resume again.
Been talking about it
every year. What you got?
I think it's interesting that she goes to video, and I think that there is a new opportunity with video, especially being able to transcribe and then also start to get into contextualization, context clues, tone, I mean, they're going to be different things. Video is not going to be the only thing. There's going to have to be a screening process up front with verification, validation kind of pieces, which will take care of that. And then the next part of it, the video part, you won't have to worry too much about verification, validation. That's already going to be taken care of, but you'll be able to look at those other things, context clues, tone, verification, kind of like, verification, context clues that are for cultural fit. So anyway, I like it. We'll see if it happens.
So literally we've had this conversation for 25 years, death of the resume. And you and I are old enough to remember visual CV and social media tools and the death of the resume. And it's still here. So I'm not exactly prepared to bury the resume. I think JT's living in 2052 or something, where they have beer sweatpants readily available for everybody. But I am willing to say that we are seeing a splintering of the resume. It used to be resume was the only way that you could get in the door, job seeker. That was the only way, or fill out this application. And the pendulum is swinging to where companies have to go and communicate with the job seeker on their terms. So when you talk about factory workers, essential workers, frontline workers, they don't have a LinkedIn profile, right? The job case of we're for LinkedIn for people who don't have LinkedIn. employers have to meet those folks where they live, how they communicate, how they use technology. And because of that, we're seeing tools like Paradox Harry and others that we've talked about. So I do think there's an element of companies evolving to appeal to candidates on their terms, as opposed to the company saying, hey, the only way that you can apply to this thing is fill out this application or give us this resume. I still think that people are going to have profiles. I'm still telling my 18-year-old, you're going to have a LinkedIn profile. I don't think that's going to go anywhere, but LinkedIn is now more than that. They have video, they have short video, which JT is also very bullish on. So we're seeing a splintering of what it means to connect with candidates. I don't think it's the death of the resume, but I'm willing to say that it is a splintering of how things have been for a very, very long time.
A smothering
and a splintering and a break in the action. When we come back, we'll get to our predictions for 2025.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harry comes in. Harry is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harry, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harry's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harry, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harry is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
We've got 2 predictions each. I'm going to go first. My first prediction for 2025, Rippling goes IPO. So the battle between Rippling and Deel finally comes to a head in 2025, with Rippling jumping into the public market first. Founded in 2016, they've raised $2 billion. So they're heading into year 10 of this journey. Investors, I think, are going to start wanting some liquidity. So I think the IPO market also starts to loosen up. I think you're going to see more companies come to the IPO markets. On their last round, they had a valuation of $13 billion. I got to think it's up to like 14 or 15 billion at this point, which is pretty consumable or pretty digestible by the markets. In April of last year, TechCrunch asked founder Parker Conrad, who's still a jackass, but anyway, they asked him about the IPO, to which he replied, quote, "I definitely think it's a bit in the distance." This was in April, which means that's Latin for 2025. We're going public. I think that distance is closing quickly. I think Deel has a little more leg room, a little more they have a little more runway to not go public. I think Rippling has less runway to do that. So prediction number 1, Rippling goes IPO, and I'm kind of excited to see a company well known in our space finally go public and see how that goes. We thought it would be an ATS. I think it's going to be a platform to rule them all, and it'll be fun to watch. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Parker Conrad's an asshole. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know if it's going to 2025, 2026, but they're definitely going to have to. They've taken over $1 billion in funding, so I think they have the runway. Will Deel beat them there? I don't know. I think they're pretty much they're in a great position right now with their like 500 million plus ARR or what have you. So yeah, that will be exciting to watch.
2 billion.
I'm not
$2
sure.
billion. They're too big to acquire. They have to. They have to go.
You're right. I'm just not sure if it'll be this year.
Either way, we can agree on Parker Conrad.
You dumbass.
By the way, he's still welcome on the show whenever he wants to come on.
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
All right, Chad, what you got?
So prediction number 1, the dam is going to burst in 2025. That's right. Money will be flowing. Prediction number 1, European startups will see funding that will increase 3x year over year in 2025, which gets us back to 2022 levels. Yeah. So This from EUStartup.com. As part of the Step Up Startup project, the European Commission are working toward fixing regulatory inconsistencies, funding gaps, and limited cross-border cooperation throughout the EU. They're also building an interconnected startup network, leveraging strengths of local ecosystems. To shorten it up, they are working because they understand that the startups are what's going to fuel their future. So Europe, mainly in the EU in this case, are focused on helping startups in countries throughout the EU just to become more straightforward from a standard standpoint. So what's going to be the driving force to push funding dollars to Europe, you might ask? Well, Matt answered half of it. It's going to be pain and chaos. Pain and chaos is coming to the United States. Immigration, that's our superpower. That might not be our superpower. Trying to bully sovereign countries like Canada, Greenland, Panama for the Panama Canal, that breeds chaos. That breeds pain for Americans. And the new freedom to yell fire in a crowded theater with the newest Facebook news will amplify the chaos itself. And what do investors hate? They hate pain and they hate fucking chaos.
Yep.
So investors want a smooth ride, as smooth as they can muster with a startup. So face it, there's already enough risk investing in a startup. So why enhance that risk without actual reward? Nope, that's dumb, which is why many investors will start to see what you and I have been experiencing for years now. European startups are pretty damned innovative. And as America turns into a broligarchy where billionaires and bigger companies are just going to stamp out the little guy, it's going to be my prediction. We're going to see funding in Europe for Europe startups 3x year over year in 2025.
That's sexy.
Ay, papi.
What broligarchy is that?
Broligarchy.
I like that. I like that. Well, shocking you would have a European prediction now that you're full on native over in Europe. I like that. And it'll be interesting to see. So much of the European money is from America. So we'll see how that flows. Like, it used to be a time where Trump would say something about a company and that stock would tank and people were freaked out. I don't know if they have the similar freak out. He seems to be going after countries now more than he does companies. But yeah, it's chaos, buckle up, kids. Chaos. 2020. Trump is going to be, interesting. All right. I like it. Let's go to mine. My next prediction is I'm going to be at Chipotle a whole lot. Oh, sorry. That's from a different show. Okay, let's go to my real prediction. ZipRecruiter goes private. ZipRecruiter goes private. Okay, so we don't have the full numbers yet, but from 2022 to 2023, net income at Zip was down from 61 million to 49 million. And I'm guessing it's going to be lower in 24 when they talk in February about their numbers from the last quarter of this year. Total revenue in that time went from 904 million to 645 million. Free cash flow from 22 to 23 went from 21 million to 9 million. That's a lot lower than 21 million. The company went public in 2021, which was fun to watch. They closed on the first day at $26 a share. They're currently now trading under $7. So unless Recruit Holdings comes in and adds them as a third leg to the Indeed Glassdoor triad, I'm predicting they go public. I think there's a better chance that Apollo or someone like them comes in. Maybe it's Career Builder plus Monster plus Zip in 2025. The new brand will be as creative as that. And they'll create efficiencies. They'll fire Ian finally, which you'll enjoy. And they'll go private. Look, Zip is a steaming pile of dog shit sprinkled with cat turds. And something's got to save it, either an acquisition or private, but they can't keep going on the road that they're going. And in 2025, they either get a sugar daddy or a life raft.
Yeah. I agree. I still can't believe, because at one time they were on the right track. And again, it just seems like IPO threw them just out of whack. And they've lost their way. And I have no clue why Ian's still there.
They lost the beef, man.
The meatloaf. All right. Good one. That was a very good one. I'm going to have to agree with that one too. Zip going private. My second prediction, this one, kids, get ready to take notes. Performance driven, AKA programmatic ad spending, goes flat or drops in 2025. So I'm going to use Appcast as a guide, as they are definitely a market leader. I'm not picking on them, but they are a great example. Let me line it out for you. So at one time, Appcast ran nearly the entire programmatic job market for all of the recruitment ad agencies. Then we saw KRT was acquired by Recruitix. So KRT ejects from Appcast, and so does their money. Radency acquires Parengo. Radency's out. But that's okay, because Appcast still had plenty of other recruitment ad agencies that they could partner with. And then, out of nowhere, Appcast buys Bayard Advertising and becomes a direct competitor with all of those remaining agencies using the Appcast platform. And then this week, we see more diversification as Shaker acquires JobAdX. I believe Shaker's move is the epitome of what the rest of the market will be doing in moving away from Appcast to gain better margins and prices for their customers and not feed the beast and or one of their competitors. So a much bigger problem that they have, and we've just heard from Matt Lavery, as we talked about on many episodes this year, companies like UPS and General Motors are using more advanced systems like Fountain and Paradox. And those companies are depending less and less on candidates from external vendors like Appcast. Why? Because those companies are reconfiguring their tech stacks and processes to re-engage candidates that they have already bought and already reside in their applicant tracking system. So here's an example. UPS hired over 125,000 people in just 5 weeks last year. Over 30,000 of those hires came directly out of their applicant tracking system, which means they didn't have to go external and spend additional cash. They already had talent in their database, so they used it. Furthermore, UPS had 35,000 additional hires who were former employees. That's over 65,000 of the 125 of those hires that happened without external help. And that is only the beginning, kids. Last year, we interviewed major enterprise hiring companies who are already flocking to this type of tech and process. And as Chris Foreman said in an interview we published earlier this week, Appcast's sweet spot is enterprise. That's because performance-driven ad buying is mostly enterprise companies. So quick recap, recruitment ad agencies will deliver lower costs and more competitive pricing solutions for their customers. That's what we're going to see out of Shaker, obviously, but return on less budget, right? Great returns, less budget. Number two, enterprise companies are starting to hire through their own databases, which means less dependency on external performance vendors. And last but not least, hadn't mentioned this yet, but neither Total Jobs or StepStone, both Appcast sibling companies, neither have fully embraced performance, and they're continuing to milk the duration-based market dry, which one of these days I think is going to be a great case study along with Monster and Career Builder for Innovators Dilemma. But wrapping this up, I'm not picking on Appcast, but they are a market leader. And I believe that this is a microcosm of the performance-based job ad spending market. So in 2025, my prediction is I believe we will see job openings continue to grow and programmatic revenues either remain flat or drop.
You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
And I would add, employers are wising up. The consumer is getting smarter. And we've talked about job postings as commodities for a long time. And programmatic is the quintessential run to the bottom. It's more of a feature, I think, for most than not. The value was that there were so few of them. I'm kind of sad that Shaker bought them because that might have been a prediction that I would have had, is that an agency would have gotten into the game. Job Ad X is one of the few that are left. Yeah. These are going to be features. Look, I think a lot of companies have figured out if I'm on LinkedIn and Indeed, I'm kind of covering 80% of the market. And this whole programmatic thing, I don't know. It's kind of a black box. It's sort of mysterious. I don't know if I need it or not. The experience sucks. Go to Career Builder and search for a job. It's all AppCast stuff. It redirects you everywhere. You have to register for everything. Job seekers have wised up, right? They know I'm going to go right to the company site. This is where job boards are sending me anyway. I'm going to figure out where that is. I think Google for Jobs has helped get people directly to company websites or get them to Indeed or LinkedIn where they already have an account and they already trust sort of the experience. So yeah, I think that programmatic probably peaked with AppCast's acquisition of StepStone. But yeah, I like it. All right. Well, I normally end the show with a dad joke, Chad, but what could be better than a dad joke? Well, obviously, hearing from our favorite
Welcome
Scott.
to all things Scottish. Our slogan is, if it's no Scottish, it's crap!
That's right. Stephen McGrath, our favorite Scott. He's the product experience manager at Poetry. The dude spends way too much time in the shower. If you follow him on LinkedIn, you know this. But let's hear Stephen's prediction to end 2025.
A great t-shirt.
You're beautiful, it's true. I saw your face.
Hi, I'm Stephen McGrath, the Chad and Cheese podcast favourite Scotsman for 3 years in a row. A relationship built on nothing creepy and a very mutual appreciation for each other. Yes. So, my prediction for 2025 is simple. 24 saw the rise and implosion of AI into businesses. We have tools that are promising to revolutionise the recruitment process through that. But it becomes really interesting for me is the companies that are going to implement Copilot-like tools into every area of their business. What does that mean? And I think it probably means that your company is going to know more about you than it ever has done before. And that's going to affect things potentially, like bonus potential. It's going to affect things like promotions, possibly. It might even go all the way up to affecting how you exit a business and maybe even the reasons why. Those things that you thought were maybe in confidence now, if a co-pilot is running through that organisation, it might have access to things and pick up on things. And I think we might even start to see some lawsuits or things like that off the back of that as well, which could be quite interesting. That might be a fairly doom and gloom one, but it's interesting to know that we might go back to the world where an employee is watched more than they ever have been and judged as a result of that as well.
And we now know way more about Stephen than we ever wanted to know. He's apparently a possible loofah guy, a loofah user. Who knew? Man, keep drinking that chicken cock, baby. I like what you're dropping.
Was wondering how his skin got so soft. And now we know.
This business is about the people, man. I say this at every conference, everywhere we go. It's all the tech comes and goes, the companies come and go, but the people stay. Chad, Happy New Year. Here's to a great 2025. Thanks to our guest predictors. We'll see how they did in 2026 when we get together. Until then, we out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad, the Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper Jack. Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!